This video has been sponsored by Beltline Hobbies and by the Canfield and Wooster train shows, February 14th, 2026 and March 14th, 2026.
Hey everybody, it's Chris at the Cloverdale Transit Authority, and this is a video that I talked about, I think now going on 2 weeks ago, that I said I was going to do a holiday haul video, which included eBay items and a couple of train show items and actually an item from an antique mall. And I haven't had a chance to do that, just to kind of show off some of the stuff that's out there and some of the stuff that I like to run on my layout, because I love to see the stuff that you guys share as well. So anyway, so I'm just doing a real quick down and dirty video today. First thing, had family come in during the Thanksgiving holiday, and we went down to Amish country here in Ohio and visited a bunch of different places, including an antique mall that we like to go to. And I was walking by, and yeah, they had a lot of model railroad stuff, but nothing that really caught my eye. But I had been at another antique mall, and I saw this car. My wife and I saw this car. We thought, oh, that's a really fun car. But it was like really expensive, and I'm not sure exactly why. So just happened to be at this antique mall, and it was, they were not anywhere near close to each other. So this is a totally different location. And I looked down, and there happened to be a shelf with a bunch of Weaver cars on them. And lo and behold, the first one I picked up was the car that we have been looking at, and that's the Heinz vinegar tank car from H.J. Heinz and Company, making pickles and what have you. So we've been looking for this pickle car, and it's kind of cool because it does have these vats that open up, these vinegar vats, and you can see down in the car, there's nothing in there. There's no pickles. But and it's got this little elevated sign, and it's kind of a, sort of a 027-ish kind of car. But we've been looking for this for a while because we thought it was such a neat car. And $15 at an antique, and it was in the box. So that's a good one. All right. So then moving on to, here I'm going to slide stuff around real fast. Moving on to a couple of train shows. I bought, there was the train show in Berea, the TCA train show in Berea. I didn't really buy a lot of stuff there. I actually had ordered some parts from Kyle, and I got that stuff, but I keep trying to think what I got. Oh, I know what I got. Wait a minute. I've got it sitting here. This was my purchase. It's a Lionel, if I can get it on the track there, Lionel pre-war 248, which I think, and I'm going to put if I'm wrong, I'm going to put the correction in the screen below. I think this was 1935 or 1936. But the guy had it at his table, and he wanted like $10 for it. And I said, really, $10? And I looked, and the wheels are new, the motor's been rewired, but he was just getting rid of stuff, and the cab does not have the screws that hold it down, which I already got the screws. And he says, yeah, I don't even know if it'll run. So again, came home, cleaned it up, oiled it up, put a new bulb in the headlamp, and yeah, it runs. And I have the freight set for this, so I wanted to get this for my wife. She loves Lionel pre-war stuff, and it's just another little box locomotive, but it's really cool, and it's another addition to our pre-war collection. She's got quite a few now. I think she's got 4 or 5 train sets for that. But yeah, she just really took to those because she loves kind of the toy nature of it and everything. Oh, yeah, and I almost forgot a couple of these things from the Berea train show. Another Atlas car, another Steam Aero Woodside Reefer Atlas car. This one for Grand Union Food Markets, or is it Grand Food Union Markets? Anyway, I love Atlas cars, and again, somebody was having a big sale on these, so I picked this up for, I think it was $35. And then also, guy makes all kinds of great scenery stuff out of wood. I picked up these crates to go into the storage building in the railroad scrapyard. So the next thing, I went to the Medina. That was at the Berea TCA train show where I found that. Then went to the Medina train show this last weekend with my dad and John and my friend Tim, who I have been on the opposite sides of the field doing Civil War reenacting for whatever 28 years or whatever it was. And he and I started talking one day, and he really would love to have gotten into trains when he was younger. And now he's like whole hog into it. And we talk every day, and he's like, oh, I looked at this. I mean, and he's already got a layout built because he was a miniature gamer for a while. He's converted that into a layout. But we were walking around, and I was looking at a bunch of different rolling stock, and I was trying to check out the Atlas rolling stock, which I love. And then I saw the the RMT cars, ready-made trains, and I saw this car, and I couldn't believe it. Airborne brown beer, and the reason I couldn't believe it is I know this story. I've had this beer. It comes from Bastogne. There's a story during the Battle of the Bulge that a paratrooper went out because he was thirsty, and he found a hotel, and he filled his helmet full of beer. And now if you go to that hotel, they serve that beer, and you get a little ceramic helmet as a souvenir. And so I've had this beer, and it's a known story, but I couldn't believe that they actually had this this car advertising this beer. It's a Woodside refrigerator car. And so I was like, man, I've got to have this because, you know, I kind of have an understanding of the story that this is telling. Company H, 101st Infantry Parachute Regiment, 101st Airborne Division, or 501st, sorry, 101st Airborne Division. Interesting car and beautiful artwork on that. So I got that at the Medina train show, brand new in the box. RMT ready-made trains, they do some really good stuff. But it's this 3-bay Wheeling and Lake Erie hopper that's been custom made. As you may or may not be able to see right in here, there's the C&O Chesapeake and Ohio logo that was on this hopper that has been quote unquote painted out and Wheeling and Lake Erie put on. And actually, if you're around town here, you'll see some of these hoppers that Wheeling and Lake Erie has here in Northeast Ohio, and they've bought rolling stock from other companies, and they've painted out the logo, and they put the Wheeling and Lake Erie on there. So I thought that was pretty cool. He had several of them, but I just snapped up one of these. And then when I got home, sitting on the porch was this Union and Pacific steel refrigerator car that I got from eBay. And eBay, there was this guy on eBay who was selling out of all of this Atlas rolling stock. You know, he had just tons of it in the box, and he's like, I'm looking to get rid of this, and it was like $30. And oh, by the way, the Wheeling and Lake Erie, this was just doing prices here. The Wheeling Lake Erie, this was $15, and the Airborne beer car, brand new again in the box from RMT, was $20. Oh no, I'm sorry, $25. So they had it on sale. So that's pretty cool. All right, so going back to this Atlas, I love Atlas rolling stock. I've just fallen in love with it. It's so detailed, and yeah, they can be pretty expensive. I think at York, They were going for like $75 a piece of rolling stock, and then on say I see them usually at train shows for like $50 a piece, which seems really expensive. But I've been watching out because people have been having sales for like $30 to $35. So this one off of eBay was $30, and I think it was like, I don't know, $6 shipping. So that's still way ahead of the game, and I love that. Road of the Streamliners, of course. Everybody knows I love streamline locomotives, so I thought that was really cool. And then also I picked up a couple other things. I picked up some scenery material. I picked up some some dirt that I'm using on the railroad from Woodland Scenics that was on sale for like $10, one of those big bottles. So I was pretty excited about that. And then I was walking around, ran into a guy that I kind of knew, and a friend of mine, Tim, bought a couple of locomotives from this gentleman. And while I was standing there, while Tim was, kind of finishing up the deal, I happened to look down and see a locomotive A-B set that my dad and I have been looking for a long time, or the style of locomotive. And I was like, wow, can we make a deal on this? And turned out that, got it fairly inexpensively, but it turned out that it's a lot more special than what I had anticipated. And I did run into a few problems with this thing, but the guy that did all the work on this locomotive was happy to get on the phone with me, and we kind of talked through some stuff, and I got it running. So let me swing it around here, and we'll talk a little bit about it. All right, so this is one of the locomotives that my dad absolutely loves, and I'm a big fan of them too. And this was built by Baldwin, about the same time that American Locomotive Works was building the Alcos, and of course General Motors was building all the F3s. And this was their entry into this car body, diesel locomotive, and sort of series of things that were coming out at that time, late 30s, early 40s, trying to get a jump on the market. But this is a New York Central, and it's in this sort of flat dark gray, which is super cool. It is made by Weaver, 3806. Beautiful detail in the trucks, as you can see. I mean, it's a beautifully detailed locomotive, and I did not realize that this was a custom locomotive, electronically, until I talked to the guy who actually owned the train, because brought this home, ran for a day, and then all of a sudden just stopped. Wouldn't make the spool up sound, because it does have sounds. This was made in, I'm been doing some of the research. I think this was made like sometime in the mid 1990s. I'm having a hard time because there's different versions of this, and I see a lot of that on there. But sometimes it's easier to find out information about an 80-year-old locomotive than it is a newer locomotive. So I was really excited about getting this and getting my dad to see it running, because he always mentions this. And then I always mention as well, but it was kind of dubbed the shark nose because of this weird kind of nose that it has. And again, it is an A and B unit, and so made the deal, and then after a day, it just stopped running, wouldn't do anything. I thought, if you saw my video on Instagram, I was kind of over these, what I call newer locomotives. This one certainly isn't new, but I was just kind of like, okay, this is crazy. And I talked to the guy I bought it from. He says, "Are there any problems? Give me a call." And he said, "Okay, let you talk to the guy who, this guy's an electronic genius, and he did, all the custom work on this." So I didn't realize there was custom work on this. So, talked to him. They didn't know whether this was dead on arrival, but he gave me some suggestions. So I took the shell off of the locomotive, and lo and behold, there's a sandwich stacking of computer boards in there, which you can expect in these sort of contemporary locomotives. And this is the thing I complain about, is like, what quality standards are we dealing with here? They were all four held together with a bread tie. Now, this wasn't just something somebody shoved in there. This was what they put in the factory. Bread tie, twisted bread tie. One of those long wire things that are covered with plastic or whatever, and that's what held them together. So I literally pushed the circuit boards back. Well, they had probably, from moving around and going from train show to train show, they'd sort of moved, kind of come apart at one point. So I put them back, kind of pushed them back together, reseated them so they were all connected. I tightened the bread tie down, probably going to put a wire tie in there eventually. And lo and behold, there it was. It worked. So I sent a message to the guy who had done the work on this locomotive, and I told him what happened. He's like, "Oh, that's fantastic," because I really didn't want to get my money back on this, because I wanted the train set, So anyway, he had told me a couple of things that he had done to this, which I was kind of looking at this. I thought, well, this is sort of interesting. So, so as you can see, the A unit has a speaker, and there is a soundboard in here. It does have a horn. It does have a bell, and it does have, if you get this going at a fast enough pace and you all of a sudden cut the power way back, the brakes will squeal, or the flanges on the wheels will squeal. So, that was kind of interesting. But no crew talk, no passenger or freight sounds or anything like that. This was primarily used as a freight engine. But he did have a couple of things that he told me the second time I talked to him that I thought was very interesting. So one of the things is, you can kind of see down underneath here, hopefully if that's in focus, there we go, is that there is, it looks like a prototypical air brake hose. And I'd never seen that on a locomotive before. Well, he had actually put that in because here in the B unit, move the camera a little bit so you can see it. Here in the B unit, he drilled this out, and he added a second speaker to improve the sound on these two. And in order to make it work with the locomotive, he connected them with essentially what he told me is a very specific microwave coax cable, which is only that big, not big like a regular coax cable, like for your cable TV or whatever. And then he coated it so that it would look like, put rubber coating on it so it would look like an air hose. And you can actually unplug it. It's this little tiny plug, and it actually looks like a, like an air hose. But that's why this thing has such great sound, is because he added that to this specific set so that it would have a second speaker. And I thought that was really cool and very ingenious, and I'm glad that it's sort of a custom work item. So that's neat, and it's a locomotive that my dad and I have been looking for. All right, so let's start it up, and you can hear what it sounds like. So I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's pretty loud in the room. Another interesting thing he told me, because this is made by Weaver, he said that a lot of the Weaver stuff, of course, now is MTH, and also that Weaver bought parts, especially electronics, from MTH, and this actually has a variant Proto 1 soundboard from MTH. It's not the one that MTH was using, but it was modified by Weaver, so it's considered a MTH variant Proto 1 soundboard. So again, interesting stuff with this locomotive. All right, so let me cycle through because, you know, you've got to get the train moving in the right direction. It's mostly conventional. And it does have a headlamp that works in forward only. Yeah, so that's I think that's pretty cool, and I love the shark nose. It wasn't a very successful locomotive in the real world, but for me, it's a success to have this, and I'm hardly wait for Dad to come over, and we're gonna run this now that I got all the problems worked out. And it does cycle down into a quieter mode after it sits, and then you'll hear like a compressor tapping away. So it does have this sort of cycle of idling noises. But anyway, so that is my holiday haul video. I hope you guys all have a great holiday, and looking forward to all the cool things in the new year. And of course, we've got train shows coming up right away in February. And lastly, if you like this video, if you like the stuff that we're doing here on the Cloverdale Transit Authority, please consider subscribing. And also, like this video, comment on this video. I'd love to hear what kind of things that you got for the holidays, going into the holidays, for your model railroad, and what you're doing with trains for Christmas. Thanks so much. We will see you on the next video.